What up, everybody? Good to be back. Hopefully, I didn't scare anybody. I realized I just like leaned in, went all in. Good to be back, obviously. And like I mentioned last time, we have a big. That's a little bright. That's a little much. Let's tone that down a little bit. Um, we have a ton to talk about. We have. I mean, goodness, we got to go over some synergies, some cards, and some ideas. We have to catch up on the news. We had some rule changes. We had a BNR. I mean, this is strap in, buckle up. We got a lot to talk about, right? And running straight off of that, we're just going to dive right in. I mean, we literally do not have any time to waste, literally. So let's go ahead and hop like right in. No reason not to. So first I want to start with the rule change. Um about 30 days ago, what is there a date on this? December 30th, right? We had a, you know, I kind of floated the idea of you should be able to clash against allies. Was the point of the tweet. And lo and behold, the rule apparently is ask and you shall receive, because 30 days later, literally a month later, boom, to the day, 30 days later. That's funny how that lined up. January 30, December 30. Crazy. Boom, it works. Allies are now an attacking hero. Therefore, you can clash, which in my opinion, I think this is a home run. Is it going to unanimously change the landscape of the game? No. But what it will do is if your hero is focused around clashing, right, which is obviously an archetype, they've invested heavily in that keyword, you're not just left there, just wondering where's my interaction, right? Like, you actually get to play your strategy, which may be good against allies. It may still be dog shit. That's to be determined, right? But at least you get to interact in a way that your deck is made to, which is the most important thing, right? And also we have it working with traps, which is also really cool. And so, yeah, I mean, overall, I'm thrilled for this change in whether it should. I think it will have a massive impact, me personally, but we'll see how that actually shakes up. So, huge W to LSS. I don't know if they had this in the works or whatever. I'm not saying that I kicked it off, but I'm just glad that that it actually followed up and it actually happened. I think it's super dope. So going to the next thing, obviously now we're going to switch tones just a little bit, and we had the banning of Chain. Now, obviously, like I mentioned during the last stream, they had to, at a minimum, just nerf him to oblivion, to where he's legit not playable, or there will be a way to where somebody will find a way to break the game, whether it be literally something as stupid as giving Read the Runes Go again and doing a stack plan, or just something ridiculous, right? Somebody will find a way to break this hero just because of the hero power. Thank God LSS had the foresight to see that coming, and they nuked it. On the flip side of that, what this does say, indirectly, is basically, unfortunately, it means that they don't know what the solution is, or they're not in a close enough realm to solve it, right? Which is a little bit of I don't want to say it's concerning, right? It's a big change, right? You got to choose between an errata, between completely just nuking the hero, which is going to have collateral effect, and then you have the option of just removing him from the game. I mean, there's a ton of things on the table, and every one of them is going to have massive ripples, right? But what this announcement de facto means is they do not have a good solution right now. That is what we can derive from this article. I think they articulated it really well. They just said that for the best experience, they were going to go ahead and do it. I want to challenge LSS with something, and it's going to be very tempting to just let the community solve this problem for you by kicking the can down the road, right? I'm not saying they're doing this. I'm just saying that it's a very convenient way for this problem to delay. Is if chain is votable when it's time for the community to vote and ban a hero, we're gonna vote for it. In the event that we don't, that's if the devs don't have a solution, they will ban it. I don't want any more bans wasted on chain. In my opinion, like I understand that it's compounding, right? And when it's banned the second time, it's for 2 seasons, and the third times it's 3. I get that. But you should not have a hero that just takes up a ban every time, right? Because it'll throw the game out of balance. So let them have this one, right? Like, got it. Thanks for being proactive. But please don't let this fester, and don't let. That's not what the bans are for. The bans are to shake things up, not to delay a problem, right? So that's really the point that I wanted to try and convey. Is I really want to challenge them on that aspect. So we'll see what actually happened. I gotta hand it to them. It's a difficult problem to solve, and it's not something that's very easy. There's a lot that goes into it. It's interesting. Can a hero be voted out while on the current ban list, or does it have to be a season in play? I don't remember seeing anything that says that that's the case. So I don't know. I'm just saying that they got to come up with a solution, and I don't want to just keep banning chain, right? And it's just a waste. It reduces the creativity of the community in picking their bans, and if we don't ban him, then the devs are forced to, and then it robs them of the ability to have their creative ban to counter our bans, and just all kind of stuff, right? It just dilutes that whole thing. So I want to challenge them. Let's not do this again, but 100% on board with doing it this time. Okay, so let's hop into this set. Now, before we get started, there was a lot of tension in the last stream, mainly discussing the precons, and the general consensus that I received from chat was that they were pretty, underwhelming. I have to give it to them though. I took a couple of the decks, not all of them, but I took a couple of the decks like KO and a couple other ones, and I was like, okay, did they make strict downgrade decisions, right? Like for an example, did they put Red Bear Hug because it was in the new set in instead of Rough Up, which if you put the 2 cards right next to each other, in every way imaginable, Rough Up is the better card because you can play it without this being online, and if you do play it, it's always 7. If this effect is revealed and has the same stat line otherwise. So, but that wasn't the case. It had Rough Up there instead of Bear Hug. So like there were a lot of decisions. Now, are there better deck building efficiencies? Like, sure, there probably is, and there probably will develop. But there were from what I could see, there were no intentional dilutions, right? Which is, I think, about what you could ask for a $20 product. And, it's also meant to be entry level, right? So I'm not like I'm only getting them to like not go through bulk. Like that's what's in it for me. All the unique cards are in pin, which is a great move. That means that they won't be heavily contested because if there were unique cards and one was more meta than the other, then it would be hard to find that deck because you would go to 4 different game stores and everybody would be missing that deck, right? A good example of that, imagine the Aurora Terra deck. If you walked into an LGS around that time when the first strike decks came out, they had a whole row of Terra decks and no Aurora decks because everybody wanted sizzles and all of that stuff. and nobody wanted the tarot cards. So, you know, imagine that times 10 because you have less in a pack, right? It's probably like one in a pack. So it would be horrendous if they made unique cards, and they didn't. So good on them. I would say overall, my impressions of the Precon for what it is, I think it is a success. I would love to see them do the bounty idea and double down on it. We'll see if that comes to fruition, but I think it would be interesting to say the least. They said a hero cannot be banned back to back. Okay, so good. They have to solve it then. Great. Easy. Challenge accomplished. What beats block slop? Guardian now. Illusionist. Yes, Enigma is the way to go if that's what you're wanting to beat. The hero choices are questionable. I give them a pass on that because there could be other factors, right? Like maybe Dory is just a cool deck that's cool for like newer players, right? So like that is a valid reason. You don't want to put a Cilio in a Sage deck. Like that would be a terrible idea. It's meant for, one of its applications is for newer players. You don't want to throw a bunch of very difficult decks to play in that slot, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and dive in. The way that we're gonna do this is we're gonna go class by class or talent by talent, and we're gonna discuss the implications to CC. We're gonna discuss the implications to, Sage, obviously, because that's where a lot of this is going to apply. And yeah, we're just going to, kind of talk about it, see what are some things that could have an impact, and we'll go from there. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop in. So Savage Claw has been announced for, I think it was like the very first card. I think this card is good, and I'm curious if people catch on why it's good. I'll leave you with a little cliffhanger because I'm working on a little something with this card, and we'll see how it actually develops. But I think Brute's going to be okay when claws go away. I think they're going to be okay. You just have to trust. As far as the equipment, there's no real CC relevance other than maybe the Spell Void for KO, but that's a bit of a stretch if you really need the Spell Void like that. But the chess piece is insane for Sage. I mean, all of these are really good, and this is just visually upgraded AB. So we'll hop straight into the other cards. This card's completely useless with the exception of blue in Sage. It is another blue 5 that's on a 2 cost curve, which is pretty valuable. So pretty good there. So basically just a blue one of these. And I guess if you need more 2 cost to round out the curve of 2/2/2 in KO and Sage, then maybe that's something you can lean on because you don't have those swing bigs and things like that. So you could use the yellow and reds to kind of round that out. This one, some applications, but a little iffy. I mean, I like the cost curve, 2 for 6, right? And if they've been intimidated, I mean, Rhinar will probably find a way to fit this into the deck in the event that they need more reasons to go wide. So this could also be a lower variance kind of wild ride in a sense. You just have to be able to line up the intimidate, and then you can also just do a wind up in reactions, and because this is a continuously checking effect. So, yeah, this card is insane for Toughnut. Actually creates one of the highest value plays. Period. Like upwards of like a 2 card 11. It's really good. And then this card is mid. Basically, you have to find a way to intimidate. The easiest way to use this is you have to intimidate from Arsenal. Or no, they have to have more cards. Yeah. This is just tough. Like you have to invest 2 cards to intimidate. Maybe this is like a beat chess synergy. Because if you were to pitch for the beat chess, you would discard. Okay, so beat chess synergy seems like the way to go here, but it seems okay. But we'll see. Shield Beater, obviously you have synergy with the Visit Anvilheim, which removes the counters from your Savior Shield or whatever it's called. It does cost a lot to play that card. Is that card what is that card called? Let's analyze that card first before we talk out of our ass. Yeah, so typically you're gonna want to remove at least 2, and it gives it go again, and then you can swing into that. So typically you're gonna pay 2 and then swing the weapon afterwards because it costs 4, which is a 2 card. It's pretty good because it'll block for 3 and then 2, so you're getting 5 value here, and then 5. That's a 3 card 10, but it is in the form of armor, so you get a little bit of flexibility there. Pretty cool. So is it going to see any play? I mean, that archetype just has to take off in its entirety, but we'll see. Then we have this stuff, which is, has some really good for Volda and stuff like that, but mainly for Sage, obviously. Heard a lot of talk about this card. I think this is like not it. I just don't think it's good enough. You're investing 2 cards. And so you're Terra Sundering, basically, and you're getting the +1 and the Dominate. Actually, this is the exact same stat line as Terra Sunder. But you just get shut out by... The problem with this card is you deal damage equal to the damage you deal, right? So it's not that you hit and you get to just wipe them out, right? So I'll give you an example. They could just block a little bit of armor 1 card, link 2 through, and then like Sawbones, and like you're just fucked. Or they just have a 3 health ally, right? Like I don't think this is going to solve the problem that people think will. When this defends, you may pay up to 3 to create that many Seismic Surge, and it's a Guardian. I mean, it's a free dump, but it's just going to pop on the next turn, and then you just use that. I mean, it gives you Dominate on Volta probably, right? So I obviously see the synergy there. You play it, and your opponent uses Chump. Yeah, exactly. Great way to say it, Taylor. Great way to say it. Distant Rumbling. When this okay. These cards are ass cheeks. I mean, booty cheeks. Okay, there's my analysis. This is probably the coolest card ever. Okay? Attack reaction, just search your deck. Okay? I want you to keep in mind, this doesn't say if it hits. It doesn't say any of that. And is it just that one shuriken that we have as a target? Yeah. So this is the only one you get to put into play. So basically, you're trading 1 resource for a free breaking scale. Is that the arm piece? Which is really good. The fact that you can just have that's the whole reason Katsu's having problems is a lot of people just block out the good hands, and then you brick, and then you lose tempo, and it's really good. And it's sick design, to be honest with you. It's actually pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. This is obviously a banger. Everybody knows that. We've already went over the equipment here. This is just Sage stuff. We got a good old Benji card. I'm not gonna analyze that. I don't know what to think. I have a base of 1. It says other attacks. You don't have to control. I do want to point out the synergy here of looking for scrap. If you do have a deck that, doesn't lean into that too terribly much, or it says your other attack. Yeah, so that would include on the combat chain, not attack action cards in your graveyard. So I take that back. That would not work the way I was trying to hope. This is really good because of the way that you can basically hover the arm piece over it. It has vengeance in the name. You can put it on the third chain link, uh, and you can like or whatever chain link really, and yeah, you get a free chain link. Is kind of the way that this works. So really really good. Let's see. Yeah, I guess anything that attacks for 0, it pumps it. That's a good point too. This is really good. Obviously, if you're trying to chain chosen names, this in Sage is bonkers. Probably some of the best equipment. Nothing really more to say. Here, Warrior got the shaft. Okay, let me. If I was a Warrior player, I would be pissed. First and foremost, because was a Warrior player. That's why I would be pissed. But then these cards, I mean, Blunton is sick. Sick design. It's a great card. The shit, right? This card is so ass. I mean, just booty cheeks, okay? And this one, obviously, we don't know how to evaluate it because we need to know. Same thing for kind of this one. Maybe they get better when Holland kind of gets her kit and we know how to better kind of identify the sharpen keyword. But we'll see. So I love what they did with mech here. And this is kind of what I insinuated last stream is they needed to truly just kit out the underserved mechs, right? And they did that. They gave wrench attacks to Max to help kind of kit out that. They gave really good base evos to flush out the curve on the really good blue ones. They flushed out the boost Teklo deck, right? Is he good enough? I think he's solid. I don't think he's gonna like rule the meta, but I think he's like I don't think anybody's gonna laugh at you if you're playing Teklo anymore. I think those days are gone. But so far, I love what they did. I think this is the exact direction that the set needed. What the set did not need is 13 useless trap cards. That's what we did not need. Thematically, this Call of Duty looking shit is dope. Like, it's pretty cool. Okay, but like for Sage, this is awesome, right? The fact that you can kind of change your chest out depending on the matchup or whatever, and then obviously the boots are insane, right? For Sage, these traps, I am curious what. I like the design of like you can use them offensively. You can get them unstuck, I guess would be the correct way to phrase it. Because you're never playing this just for the top effect, right? This literally says create a Quicken token under target hero's control. This is a whole card for a Quicken token, right? Terrible rate. It's a whole card for a Frailty token. Insane. But you do get the unique ability. Everybody, if you have enough density of these, you can move away from Trench and things like that, right? Even though Trench is still pretty good because you get that resource. But I understand that I love the design. These are just, I think they're a little weak. The Rune one's pretty good, but I think the rest are kind of iffy. And this one actually has text on the other end because it's a pump. So this one's really good. But everything else is what it is. We talked about a lot of the Runeblade stuff. Obviously, we're still waiting on, I think, one card. I think a Majestic. And hopefully it's going to be dope. But obviously, this is great for a weaker version of Vexing, but still really good for Vinset. Another option for that offhand. And then I love the design of this card because there were some matchups like the Vismir kind of toward the tail end of his existence where one player would draw like just a rune chant generation hand and then they would make a bunch of rune chants and kind of hold the other player prisoner until they found like a ninth blade or something like that. And this kind of dilutes that strategy. So, and it has go again, right? So like the opportunity cost is not absolutely massive. Is it worth playing? I would probably rather like progress my own game state rather than trying to tear down somebody else's. But I love the design of it. Seems solid. Other than that, this card's insane in Sage, and then I think this one's also really good in Sage as a utility blue. Don't underestimate blue 3-block Runeblade Go Again that also deals arcane damage. Pretty good combination on cards. Um, I think this means they're going to ban Stormstriders. I don't know why. It's first of all, it's majestic. You cannot play it in Sage. Okay, so there's no Sage argument. And this is just really bad Stormstriders, okay? You have to wait till the chain breaks. And your opponent has to attack you. Or you can't like go off. Like imagine how many times you've won with Stormstriders because you ripped their whole hand apart and then they pass turn, you draw up, and then they just dump their hand. Can't do it because they never attacked you, right? This card is just terrible. The only thing that makes sense is like they're going to ban Stormstriders, and this is yours. This card looks a lot better when Stormstriders doesn't exist. Okay, but I'll tell you what. Every one of you Kano players that are like, man, if I had one more resource, here you go. This one's free. Moving on. I don't know how to evaluate any of this shit. Okay, I'm not even gonna fake it till you make it. They literally cut Stormstriders in half and made 2 boots. Crazy business. And then here's the closest you're getting to Adult Blaze. That's petting, but bear with me. And yeah, I think this was pretty decent. Any tall arcane, but I mean, obviously you have to invest in sigils and stuff like that. So Sigil of Fate is, it's not a Kano activation, I'll tell you that much. And the reason this isn't true opt is basically if you find the card you need, you don't get to dig down on like a Whispers of the Oracle or something like that, right? So keep that in mind. Then you have Illusionist equipment. Now let's pause here. This is just cool. I don't know how else to say it. This is just like pretty like Mirage, right? When this is defending a non-illusionist attack, so it's reverse Phantasm. If you block something with 6 power, it just blows it up. That is such good design. Think about it. You're giving Illusionist the ability to be like, okay, I don't get popped, but but because I don't get popped, I'm priced into just racing. I think that's insane. I think that's actually insane design. Hats off to him. And the cards are good. The cards are good too. So it's just crazy. Whoever came up with that idea, chef's kiss. I don't even like Illusionists. I don't even fuck with this Illusionist, but like that's pretty dope. Okay. How to evaluate these cards? I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't know. A 3 for 6. Like when you play these cards, while this is attacking or defending, when this leaves the arena, create a spectral shield. So leaves the arena, so that's once. So it's a 2-card 7. Is that enough if you're just racing, right? And these are all statted at a 3, so they don't have go again off of well, they have go again anyway because they don't have Herald. The fact that these cost 3, I still feel like they're building up to a. Who's the illusionist from Flicker Trick? The she has a name. I don't know. I think they're about to put her in a set. If I had to guess. This is all obviously just Sage equipment. And I mean, yeah, you get a lot of block. This is a card worth talking about. I heard a lot of talk about this one. It was kind of like being compared to the kunai and stuff like that. Um, I think this card is super bait. I think this card's really, really bad. I take that back. It's not super bad, but it's not great, right? And I want to explain. You're spending 2 silver, okay? Which is what you're buying this for. You could have bought Black Tech Whispers, you could have bought Mask of Perdition, you could have bought a Graven's Call, you could whatever, right? Could have bought all these different things and you chose to buy this, okay? Opportunity cost 1. Opportunity cost 2 is you have to pay a resource to use the damn thing. So, if you know anything about Assassin, the curves are pretty tight unless they're telegraphed, right? So, I'll give you an example. Surgical extraction. Typically, if you have a tunic counter, you would go dagger, spider bite into surgical or spider bite into, you know, CNC or whatever the case may be. If you just throw the surgical, you gave up the spider bite swing to hover this, which is an opportunity cost. So you're paying all of that to force the on hit that you may or may not get. Um, it that just seems too high, in my opinion. That on hit has to be it has to be surgical good. Like, and even then, I think the opponent just overblocks by 1. I think they can afford to overblock by 1 when you invested a whole piece of armor into this. Now you can continue to hover it, of course, right? I get that. But once again, every single time you hover it, there's a cost because it costs 1. Just want to point that out. These cards, I don't think they change a ton. Arachne doesn't like the 1 cost, although the on hit here is pretty good. And then this is just so niche, right? The Mystic card. So I don't think I've actually. Oh, the stealth go again. Yep. If you hit with it, obviously, if you need a little bit more go again, I get it. I see it. That's a bard card. Moving on. The gravy cards. I don't know. In Sage, obviously, this is what he needed, right? Because he was basically running naked. So, also, Pirate Wager Majestic is a slap in the face to Olympia. Oh, that's hilarious. How everybody else got the better wager card. That's so good. I don't understand the use of this card. 1 cost is not a good curve, and you're attacking for 2. And okay, so you just get to play Spell Void 2, okay, and you can't tap it, but it costs 1. Okay, so you're just on board Spell Void. And it's 2. Okay, so if you need Spell Void, okay, I think it'll see it and applicate, but Kano's gone, so maybe not. This card seems really bad unless there was a way to, add a lot more counters. We will see. Absolutely awful. Obviously, Jury Bones synergies here. And same for this one is. No, this is the one where you have to, whilst defending, you put into your graveyard from the arena and turn it face down. And it's Watery Grave, so you can play it from. The problem is getting it to grave. You don't want to use a gold to do that. That's crazy. You basically. It's yellow, so you want to tipple this away. That's the most efficient way to get into the grave and actually make it a good card. But other than that, We already have a way to add counters to allies, and no one uses her. Oh yeah, Moray. That's right. You right. You right. This card is insane. Holy shit. Whoever printed this card. The fact that this shit blocks 3 is egregious. Okay? I think this card should not block. Me personally. You get a pump on any attack action card. Okay? Problem 1. You can add this to a CNC. You can, I mean, this card is insane for probably every pirate ever. Like, this card might even be good enough for Puffin. Like, that's just insane. It's obviously probably the best in Marlin, but man, this is fucking good. That's a good ass card. This card's insane as well. In Sage, obviously, you basically just play an unmovable in your deck and you get to play it for free. Which means you get a whole card's worth of value from this, and out of a piece of armor in Sage, that's really good. Upwards of 3 to 4 value. Mini Sky Warden has a lot of application. This is also a really good harpoon. It seems like Marlin got some upgrades, to say the least. So Marlin is definitely eating pretty good. The text is approaching Yu-Gi-Oh level of small text. Wage Gold is even 2 block. I'm telling you, bro, it's crazy. This card seems like ass. And this is 0 for 4. Go. When this attacks, you may discard a card and destroy an item you control. This seems really good in Puffin. Another 0 for 4. Go again. This is also like a Jittery Bones kind of setup, because you can put it. You can put your ally 5th from the top, and then when you draw your new hand of 4 cards, Jittery Bones into it, or Reckless, whatever the 2 cost is. This card is insane. It does everything. When I read this card, I started at the pitch, obviously, and I read the card, and I was like, okay, this card has to not cost 2. Has to cost 3, right? I don't know if Kevin's still in the chat, but holy shit. This card just does it all. Until end of turn. So it's Triumph on everything. It's statted as a Triumph. Doesn't go to Soul. Okay, I guess that's the only thing it does not do. That's a good point. That's a very important point. But still, the way that you can lead with this, and then you don't need to Triumph on your second one, so it basically, yeah, okay. But then if that's the case, then people are very easily just going to eat this because it doesn't have any real application. And then even though the next one doesn't have Phantasm, quote unquote, unless you have a really big popper, they can afford to just block it out. I see what you're saying, chat. So no Soul. Yeah. Okay. Really good in Sage, though. Really good. It's a Bolton card. It's bad. Don't know what else to say. Really good card, but Bolton card bad. The card's insane, right? Absolutely insane. This is actually really cool as well. The fact that you can just have on-demand Soul Source is really interesting. These 2 cards here specifically, I don't know how to evaluate them. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to lead you astray. This is obviously really good in Bolton, and it's a very good Sage card, good CC card even. But unfortunately, I don't think it does enough to actually save Bolton in Sage specifically. Moving on to Shadow. Okay. So this card, really good in CC. I don't think you're going to get 4 rune chance deep in Vinny in Sage very often. So this is a very high risk card. It is a blue though, so I guess the risk isn't really there. This card makes zero fucking sense. I don't even know why. I felt like this could have said the first time you, instead of you lose that much, you lose one, right? The fact that the way to look at this card is you lose what they would have gained, right? So if you play Sigil, that card has 3 value because you gain 3. Well, you're dealing 3 damage. So they're still converting the value. It's just going a different way. And you get a Vigor token. And not only that, but if they do it at the end of your turn, you might not even need the Vigor token, right? And that's really the problem. So I don't know. Yeah, you imagine killing somebody with a CYB, bro. Absolutely atrocious. Embalm, I think, could actually have some application in Vinny and CC. Very interested in looking into this card. What its actual application will be, that's to be decided. But at an absolute floor, it's a great way to build up rune chance, not take damage from blood debt, and progress the game state. This is neat, it being yellow 4-block, obviously. What I don't like in Levi is this does not help you on your mission of filling the grave, because it goes straight into banish. And also, when a lot of times I'm not a Levi expert, but typically I would imagine you want to get to like 6 or 9 graveyard before you really start just going. And if you draw this, it's like, well, you either got to pitch it or it's go time, right? And it kind of puts you that many Vigor tokens. Okay, hold up. Pump the brakes. That many Vigor tokens. Okay. What the fuck you doing with all them resources, though? Okay, maybe I talked a little too much shit. And it blocks 2? Hmm. Okay. Okay, I see the vision. I see the vision. Oh, you use it on the flip. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty good. That is pretty dope. These are odd. Don't really understand them. I mean, it is a 3-block and it's a shadow card, right? Like, I guess the floor doesn't have to be too high to fit it in Vinny, but you have cards like this kind of competing now, so that critical threshold for shadow cards isn't crazy low like it used to be. So I don't think you would start dipping into cards like this. Seeds, obviously, you have synergies with Terra and things like that, and you also can combine it with Doubling Season, which I think is the most atrocious card in this set. I'll explain why. Okay, this card, when I read this card, I thought it cost 0. Turns out there's a big difference between 3 and 0. Okay, I want to propose a scenario, right? Let's say you're just a pitch stack god, right? You pitch stack, or you have this in Arsenal, and you're just the luck god, right? And you draw double sprout, okay? Which, for those of you who don't know, is just +1/+1/+1, okay? Which in this effect is +2/+2/+2. Okay, so that means it goes up to 6 on the first one and then up to 12 on the second one. You're like, holy shit, we did it, right? And then you realize what you've actually accomplished is a 4-card 12. Which is like half the decks in Flesh and Blood can just put their card sideways and achieve. This card is just, I mean, booty cheeks. And I know somebody's going to be out there and be like, oh, yeah, you can pay into Terra and you can block with Canopy Shelter and you can, yeah. Let me know how that works. Let me know how that works. So, Arc Bending is in, sorry, my eye is itching. God. 4-card 12. Congrats. Arc Bending is insane in Lightning Lexi, obviously. Verdant Tide is mid and a half. And this costs 1, so it's bad. Elemental Strike might see some application. I doubt it though. And then colors. I thought this was going to be interesting, but I haven't found a real valid use for it. Just not really good. I know you can get double um, Oldham activation, but you're pitching 2 cards anyway, and it's just not worth it. Um, all of these cost 1, and off-statted cards like that in Sage comes at a very high opportunity cost. And I would say that the only one that's even entertainable to use would be Sheath, because you have the ability to maybe stop their turn, quote unquote. All the other ones are basically completely useless. And then we got Layden's. I think Layden with Frost is decent, maybe, because it's just a. This is like, what's that? The one that on hit you make a Frostbite token. One cost pump. You know what I'm talking. Icequake. It's like that, but it doesn't apply to every hit, and you're guaranteed a Frostbite, basically. Guaranteed. You got to pitch an ice card, obviously. But this card, absolutely bonkers. Holy shit. This card. Okay. I mean, this card just makes Florian. Florian's a real deal in Sage. He's actually playable. I mean, I don't know what else to say. This card's insane. You just run the chess piece, and the first one you see, you just pop the chess piece, rip it, run it. Right? It's just insane. Actually gives you decent. It actually gives you more stack potential, more longevity for the runway. It allows you to decompose without discharging your rune chance. That's the important part. Holy shit, this card. Insane. This in CC is really good, right? You get to more copies of Ring of Roses, like, obviously. Man, what Crown of Seeds became. It's a good card. AB2 on the helmet. I think that Jarl's probably going to love this. Maybe. I don't know what the helm was competing with, but this card will definitely see play. It could just say AB2, and I think this card's decent and actually has another effect. So rip Crown of Seeds, but I think this is a close enough replacement. I think it's decent. That they're just filling out this set. Okay. This isn't even CMH at home. When I saw this card, holy shit, I was disappointed. Okay. 2 mites. I know what you're thinking. If you're Florian, it's 3. Yeah, 2 card 3. Okay. 2 card 6, because it happens when it enters and at the beginning of that turn. No, this card's not it. This card is not yet. Okay. We already talked about how shitty this card. This one's even shittier. Okay. Sprout is amazing. If you were following along with the Earthbriar deck, this is kind of exactly what the deck needed. We needed a little bit more Earth that actually is like on rate, and this serves both. So this is exactly what we needed. We threw that in. And these ice cards. So me and the boys, we were reviewing all these cards, and when we got to the ice section, it literally put somebody to sleep. Okay. When we got done with the ice section, 2 people were snoring. I'm telling you. I don't know if they're scared of this talent. I get the ally thing, but like, first of all, if you freeze 3 allies, you've already lost. Okay. Because those 3 allies that are on the board have already dug in your ass. Okay. Like they've done their damage, and you're just freezing. Like, man, I don't know. It seems like they're a little worried. I think they got a little too thematic with ice. Like, I get freezing the arsenal and blowing it up. I get it. It's kind of dog shit. I mean, you have to freeze it, and then they can just pay 2 to keep it. Which, I mean, 7 on hit doesn't have to crush. It could be worse, sure, but man, I don't know. I don't see it. This card is so cool. We got us a little snapback, Little snapback action. It's pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. Really good design here. If Facilio gets stuck with all those instants, you can turn them all into what's that card? I forget what it's called, but you just discard it and it prevents the next 2 damage. And it doesn't say from that source, so you can block 2 breakpoints, whatever you want to do. You do give up a very important piece of equipment, though, which is the old knocker, you know. And then this is just Twinkle Toes or whatever it was called, the top half of it. This seems really good. You made it so it's just a free. It doesn't have go again. It only comes in for 3. Probably not worth, to be honest. Unless I think you would only insert this card if something in the meta forced you to be really fast on your combo and you literally just had to filter through it as quickly as possible. Then maybe you lean on this, but other than that, I don't see it. This seems pretty mid. This would be insane if it was a 0 cost. But it being 1, I don't know. Sure. You got it. Haboob, this card's like really good. But it costs you a lot of ash. Okay. Very ash hungry. But yeah, I don't know. But I mean, it's obviously good. Like, it's pretty good. And I guess you don't have to. At the start of each turn, put a storm counter on this. Then destroy it unless you. Okay, so it's optional. So yeah, you can just play it, get some value. It's go again. Block 3. The bar is pretty low for that card. So I think it's really good. Obviously, the 5 cards in this set are just bananas. Okay. And then obviously, Fang greatly appreciated this as well. Just another draconic reaction that's extremely playable, right? Don't know if you really need this. I would never really change. I would never trade one extra situational block for a balance effect or a Crown of Providence effect or something like that. I think that is way more valuable. This card. So currently in the Sage meta, you kind of have a couple aggro decks that are kind of at the top. Obviously, you got like, Phi and Briar and maybe Lexi, things like that. They're all kind of just hanging out up there, right? I think this is the card that sets Phi apart from the rest. Just the fact that it says 1 or more. So you could get Red Arctic Incarceration, which normally could, if it was Lexi and they flipped it and then played it, that'd be 4 Frostbites. Now, this would only stop 3, right? But because it would be an instant. But that would normally just lose you the game, right? Like, it's over, especially if you don't have a blue. And then even if you do have a blue, you don't get to do your whole sword pattern. So you're like not doing the thing that your deck is designed to do. And it blocks 2. It's actually insane. This is what it literally just sets Phi apart from the rest of the aggro heroes, in my opinion. We have I saw somebody compare this to like Blood Rush Bellow for Phi, and I don't know about that because you have to discard a Phoenix Flame, and to get the maximum amount of value from this card, you need to play it up front, but that's counteractive. So you this card is only really good with Flame Call Awakening, or if you just draw into a Phoenix Flame, and then what is your deck if that's the case? So I think that is the main application for this card. And yeah, we'll kind of see if it's actually worth it. Doesn't block. There's a lot of risk to it. You draw 2 cards though, which is insane, but Be ready if this does go into the meta. What's going to end up happening is you have to actually dilute a little bit of the value here because people will start running Balance of Justice um, into 5, right? And that's just something that's going to kind of dilute the value that's derived from that card if it does become meta. You'll get some good weeks out of it before it actually establishes, though. Insane card. I think we've talked about that one. It's really good. And then some of these are exceptionally playable, right? News not relevant in Sage, I don't think. All of the disruption. The assassin class really, like, so if you look at a Mario deck, right? Or a new deck or whatever, it's a whole bunch of cards that are blue and happen to block 3, and then there's a slew of Majestics, okay? And if you take those Majestics out, which Sage effectively does, it turns out you are left with a bunch of blue block 3s, which are not good. And so I think the Assassin really, there's still enough damage in the format to where I don't think like attrition based fatigue is really an option, or at least not from an Assassin anyway. And I just don't know what the Assassins are truly doing, right? Like, I just don't see, if you're going to block, Guardians do a way better, right? I just don't know. The Assassins are still going to get dicked on by Enigma. It just doesn't seem good, okay? We'll put it that way. The Enigma cards are really good. She was already a strong contender. So I know there was a lot of worry about Oldham going into the format, and this is the perfect way to counter it, right? That matchup should be close to literally 100-0, right, for in favor of Enigma. So you should be fine in that matchup, particularly, and a lot of these cards just truly support it. You have a couple cards where, and there's also like some interesting stuff where you get to like make more Crouching Tigers and stuff like that. It's just pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Going into the chaos cards, I don't know how to evaluate half of these. Okay, hyperinflation is very interesting. This card costing 1 kind of kills it for me, to be honest. This card is ass. This is interesting, but I think it's gigabait because you have to basically, to get any value from this card, you have to basically be able to play both cards, or else you're like paying 1 to play a different card. Like, it's just not great. But of course, you have the chess piece that if you could pop the chess piece and everything costs 1 less, and then you just rip this off the top and you got more options, like, holy shit. Okay, I could see like a big chaos turn kind of brewing. So maybe I've spoken too soon. That chess piece, and same thing here, man. Holy shit. Maybe you just like blow your chess piece, you just kill people. But this is really good anti D-react hate, because this is basically a Taya on an attack action. Pretty good. Holy shit. Let's talk about Toughnut. Absolutely insane. Okay. I think Toughnut is actually a real deck now. And this is actually a deck that I had been working on before any of these cards came out, about, I want to say 4 weeks ago. And the best place that I could get it is it did something really good, but it did it inconsistently. And it mainly revolved around the 6 power base, to get certain ratios right in regards to pitch, but also maintain 6 values or popper values high enough. You had to like give and take. Now you have blue Hulk up as a 6, right? Because the red comes in 8. So if you go to the blue, it is a 6 power. This is a 6 power half the time. Then you have another one. If you are playing rock, is another 7. So you have 3 7s or 3 6s that are blue. Right there just solves your ratio problems. You have insane boots that you just get to pop for go again. Nothing really else here. I think this is bait, and this is conditional. If you want a good Marlin matchup, you could probably just play this. And they like just rip a card, or they try to draw to load their harpoon. You just say nah, and then they pass. Like makes that other pirate card look a lot worse. But I think Tough Nut is actually legit. And once again, the set is not Everfest, but what they did with the set was exactly what they needed to do. They needed to look at every other hero other than Olympia and give them wager. I'm just kidding. No, what they needed to do was look at underserved heroes other than Olympia and just support the shit out of them, right? They they dedicated so many cards to Teklo Max, Tough Nut, the Chaos Identity, right? Like just so many heroes that just really needed something. Like they were kind of lacking, okay? And they just juiced them. And I think that's exactly what they needed to do. I think that is it going to like flip the meta on its head? Maybe. But what I can say is if you were in the corner waiting for an opportunity to play a deck like Tough Nut or Max or Teklo, you get a chance now. Like I know somebody said Olympia and Betsy, but those are limited heroes. They don't count. Okay. So Olympia just got 4 Majestics last set. That is true. That is true. And he didn't get any better. Uh, he did not get any better. But yes, you are correct. You got 4 Marvels. Oh, shit. Now, let's talk about a hero that got the juice. Okay. And that is RKO. Holy shit. Kind of teased chat a little bit about, I've always respected RKO. I even took him to a PQ, did really well. And like, I have an extreme amount of respect for the deck. However, I do think that the deck can be outplayed in a lot of ways just by managing life totals and things like that. But these cards, bro, holy shit. First of all, you just start online. Okay? Crazy. You just start online. Okay? Which means they have to deal damage. The only downside here, a lot of people are like, oh, you just slap it in, right? But I would beg the question, what actually provides more value? Because you have to look at this card. One, you typically run Tunic with RKO. You don't want to block with that. You don't want to block with this, and until you establish your lead. And then, so you really only have the head and the boots. And your head gets most of its value from situational blocks, right? Waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity. And so running this card where you could normally just throw those arms in to maintain that life total to push your initiative, you lose that because now you're going to have to actively be blocking more to stay at an even or higher life total instead of just jamming your armor early like you're supposed to do. Um, which in turn makes it where you can't be as offensive. It all I'm saying is like this in Sage, it's a home run, okay? But in CC, I'm saying there's still going to be a debate between this card and um Apex or usually it's Apex. I think there's an argument, and I am personally in favor of Apex still. I think it's close, but somebody mentioned sideboard it for when you go first. That's a good point. But is it good going first? Like your hero ability has no text going first, right? If anything, it's better going second because then when you're attacking with tempo, you get to add the value, right? But your hero ability, the first turn, if you go first, has no. I mean, people are just going to block assuming it's 6, right? Like they're not going to be an idiot. So I think it's close, but it's a great budget option, like somebody mentioned in chat. Great budget option. But man, it's just so fucking good. And then this card, holy shit! You want to talk about putting some respect on a card? Um, I mean, this is just good, right? Because It's low attack, so you get more value from your hero ability. And then it's statted at a 0 cost, and it gets go again when it hits a hero. Or sorry, when it hits a hero, the next attack action card you play has a base of 6. So really, it gives you the ability to use your hero ability twice in a turn. This card, I mean, if there was, I don't know, the little pickaxe thing that does +1. I don't know if that could ever make it into RKO because I don't think it's quite good enough. But man, like people are just gonna respect this, and you can't pummel it. There's no real combat tricks. So anytime you see this, food for thought, you should probably just block 6. Or what? If you apply a pump to it, though, it gets nasty. It gets nasty. Really good though. Really good card. Walking my shoes is pretty decent. Has a +1 crush when it deals 4 more damage to a hero until end of turn. The base. Okay, so you just give them his effect. Yep, that seems pretty decent. This one I'm not too sure about. Name a card can't be. I mean, there'll probably be some sideboard hate that uses it. When this attacks a hero, look at the top card of their deck. If it's red, destroy it. And this gets +4, so it's conditional mocking blow. If you have more space in the ones category in red, maybe, but it really just depends on deck building restraints. When this attacks a hero, if you have more life than them, this gets go again. So if you need more go again options against Gravy or something like that to kind of maintain the board state, this is a good option. Want to caveat that with typically in the Gravy matchup, you're not leading in life. So wish you the best. Bad Breath, intimidate target hero. Next time an attack you control hits this turn, create 3. This is obviously a Goliath card. It seems pretty good though if you can land the hit. Then we have the slew of reprints that, thank you LSS for doing this. The game needed it. Everybody knows that. And yeah, we have the generic helmet that's probably the most interesting card in the set as far as like it's so versatile, and it's like I just would not expect this to be a generic equipment. I would expect it to be like a pirate or something like that. It has Marlin implications probably, and then maybe but you would rather just have the gold, right? Like I guess that's ultimate. Maybe if there's a world where I don't know. Some people were talking in my last chat about getting a quiver that counts as a gold or something. If that happens, maybe this becomes more valuable. Just a thought. But I think where things currently stand, you still would probably just prefer the gold to start, if I had to guess. We talked about this. Love this card. Oh my god, I cannot. I can't wait to play Toughnut. I'm just gonna say it. I cannot wait. I think the hero is actually gonna do something, and I'm gonna try my best to do it. This card, I have a story about this card. So, Damien and Josh were testing the Warrior Kasai into Pleiades for a long time, trying to find an angle, and the result is it's a dog shit matchup for Kasai. Okay. You just deny them gold. Raise an army doesn't matter. Sure, they got riches. They'll make a couple. You'll just clear them, and you'll be at a high enough life total to where you can weather the storm, right? So Josh was like, oh man, I'm going to just play this, snipe your tunic counter, and make a bunch of gold. And I immediately responded with, Josh, I think Pleiades could not bring in the chest equipment and beat Kasai. I mean, titties out, no chest, right? Like just because nothing says you have to equip something at the beginning. You can just start your game with a headpiece, an arm piece, and a leg piece, and no chest armor, right? You can do that. That is a legal option. And I think Pleiades still takes that game easily. But then Damien was like, why would you do that? Just don't tick your tunic counter up. And I was like, holy shit. So this card only applies to like 2 or 3 cards. And one of them, like if you think that they're on this or they get so much value from gold, just don't. The tunic effect is not a mistrigger. You're not going to get in trouble for maintaining board state or whatever. It is a May ability. You can just decide not to. Okay? So it's actually just insane that they it was just wild. Okay. I know it's disrespectful, but literally I think Pleiades beats Kasai with titties out. I mean, that's just how it is. Then they have the cycle of these cards. I love the design of these cards, how you have something just so generic, right? It's basically power crept come to fight. And but my favorite thing about it is it says attack. It doesn't say a attack action card, it doesn't say weapon swing, none of that. It just says attack, right? So if one of these days these one cost 3 pumps, they're gonna do something. Nebula Blade, I don't know. Okay. All I know is it's pretty cool. Okay. Not really a lot of application right now. Um, I guess if you were playing a Nebula Blade build, like you would care about the frailty, obviously, because it ruins your break point. But like, I don't think these cards are really worth it unless like you, we're talking 3 years from now, and maybe there's just a Blood Rot Pox deck for Assassin or something, or Ranger, whatever the case may be. And the whole build is they make like a bajillion Pox tokens, right? This would be a good way to kind of like combat that, right? Because it is applicable to a lot of things. So, looking forward to the day that these are actually meta worthy. I don't think that day's today, but looking forward to it. Okay. So, that's a good point. Somebody mentioned that this is a warrior card because they hate frailty so much. That's a good point. So now we have a whole bunch of tech instant blues. Okay. This is really cool depending on how good they are. This is shit. Okay. Moving on. You're not going to play well, it does block. Ooh, maybe it is good. Library cost 2, 4? What? I don't know. What does library cost? Huh. I'd rather just run yellows. Remove target item token, target aura token. I mean, item token? So hyperdrivers, okay. So if mech ever becomes a thing, I guess this is your counter. Sure. Okay. This is really good against so fatiguing gravy is a lot more viable now because they have to banish Whaler, and it's usually in there a good 4 or 5 turns before they can ever make a play with it, right? Sometimes it lines up differently, but usually it's hanging out for a minute. This you can just snipe it, right? And I would take 3 damage in a heartbeat to just get rid of Humper, right? Like just get him out of there, right? The instance, maybe that plays a role in the future. I'm not really sure the actual value of banishing the instant, but just getting the yellow card, really good. It'll definitely see some play. And then this is a Lyeth card. He still gets to block for 3 out of it, and it doesn't matter that it gets halved. So pretty good there. And destroy aura permanent with sigil. I don't know if we're relying enough on sigil to make this worth it. Like a Cilio, sure you get to destroy sigil of brilliance, but they still get to draw the card. So I don't know about this. Yeah, I'm not sold. So that is our first kind of look. Banishing some core cards versus play. That's a good point. That's a good point. You have to evaluate this set differently. I agree, Shane. That's a good take. Um, it's really interesting. Oh, and we never talked about this card. This is also possibly an RKO card. A little bit off curve being a 1, but I mean, it could be another Mocking Blow blue, depending on what you roll. You roll like a good 4, that's pretty fucking good. That's all I'm saying. I think all rares and commons should be truly considered designed for Sage and CC afterwards. I agree. 100%. I agree. So I would love to take the time to chat with everybody in chat and kind of get your thoughts on the set, the precons. Are we happy? Are we not happy? Have any cards came out while I've been talking? It was just a chaos chess piece, which is insane, to be fair. Um, Absolutely bananas. But we are getting Everfest vibes, right? Like you mentioned, a toolbox kind of set, and I agree, right? Everfest had all the potions and stuff, so we're kind of getting that vibe toward the end with the generics. I just think they did a really good job filling those voids. I think they did a fantastic job. Like I said, Teklovos and Toughnut, not Warrior. They just every class that was just really needing something. Like Runeblade has been in the trenches, bro, and we got stuff. We needed it. We've just been insignificant for so long. We only have one playable, right? One playable Runeblade. And, you know, they deliver. And we still got a Majestic to go. So I can't wait. This set seems really low power to me. So yes, okay. I agree. If you take actually I I understand your thought process on that. And I don't necessarily disagree with it. But I would counter the argument. Marlon needs some juice, right? She lost Tipple. Boom. She got some absolute bangers. Nobody can tell me that these are not alongside some of the best cards printed in Flesh and Blood, right? Like this card is absolutely insane. Okay. And from a card like this is insane for Toughnut, right? Now, the cards that are juiced are very surgical in nature and they're going toward bad heroes, which could give the illusion that the set is underpowered. Um, I I can agree with you there, and it does give that illusion, right? Because Verdance isn't getting gas here. She got one little card, but like nothing that she's gonna use, right? A lot of the top decks didn't get anything, right? I think Dio got what that one blue. Like, congratulations, moving on. So like holistically, the best deck that got the most support was probably RKO. If I had to bet. So I 100% agree with you that if you were to take the power level of and average it over all the cards, yes, it's a weaker set. It was designed for Sage, right? But where they wanted to put the juice, you could just see that it was really surgical. But if you're a wizard player or a warrior player, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you. There are some classes that got the lesser end of the stick. I will be the first to say it. But man, like these cards aren't weak. This is good. We eventually found out that this is decent. This is good. Like there's some banger. 0 for 5 go again in CC. What? Shit hero, but the card's good. Like, I don't know. I think in the context of things, you can come to that conclusion. But if you look at it in a vacuum, you're like, is this card powerful? Yes. Therefore, I don't think it's a weak set per se. But I understand how you got to that conclusion. Jacob is saying what's in my head better. What did Jacob say? My only issue with the set is the cards that are interesting are kind of locked to bad. Here, yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. But I guess my question is that a bad thing? I guess if you're playing the best heroes, I guess it kind of is. Like, okay, all right, let's look at this objectively. Okay. If you're a gravy player, I would say overall, what's the top decks? Mario. What did Mario get? Nothing, right? Literally nothing. What did Verdance get? Verdance got one little decompose. Where's that fucking card? Here. I would say she's probably happy with it, but it's not like a game changer, right? You probably waited. I mean, you got that. I don't know if that's going to be relevant, but what else was the top? KO. You didn't really get anything. You didn't get anything as KO other than Spell Void, maybe. Syndra, you got absolutely nothing. You're right. Like all the top decks, all the top decks got nothing. I mean, let's be honest. That pirate card is so good it could be played in gravy, bro. Like this card. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Discard a card. Oh, that's terrible. When you discard an ally, and then you get a gold. Like bananas. This is literally a gravy card. But I see what you're saying. So I guess ultimately I want to ask the chat, how do we feel about that? Is that, it seems very surgical in nature that they said, okay, here's the underserved heroes minus Olympia. And let's give them some juice, bring them up to speed. And which is what I suggested from the start. If you looked at the last one, I was like, this is exactly what I asked for. I said that Everfest, but instead of distributing the juice equally, they need to give a lot of it to and that's exactly what happened to a T. So I technically got exactly what I asked for. I guess the question is that what's best for the game holistically? And I think that's worth discussing. So chat, please let me know. Is that good that the top decks got way less than the bottom half of the decks? Just getting caught up reading. Chaos Chess Piece just says pop it and all cards cost one less this turn. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Wizard Boots give them the right to ban Store Striders. I welcome it. That's the only angle I see. Missed the bow. Bow is kind of dog shit, wasn't it? Overall, the set's okay. Lower power, but we don't always need a bonkers power set. I was worried about him coming a little bit over the top, to be honest, because of with Super Slam and Master Pack Guardian is a little bit on the lesser side. I was worried about him just like really bringing in a hot set, but it seems like they managed it. Seems like they managed it pretty well. Bow is bad, really bad. Yeah. It is an instant, though. That is correct. Kind of expecting us to roll into the Gravy Mario Kasai Acilio meta. And Toughnut. I think the lower power at face value, if you think the design space, this opens this on some cards. Yeah. These cards feel forward thinking. A lot of that was in Everfest. Very true. There are some really, really good cards, but I think they are for decks that aren't going to end up being actually good. That's a good point, Jacob, because if you take the risk of mainly servicing the from a power perspective, the lower tier decks, but your changes don't render any change. But I don't think you can math it like that because any upgrade is an upgrade, right? Some decks like Bolton and Teklevossen take a fuck ton of updates or upgrades to make a difference, but like an upgrade's an upgrade, right? Look at where Vinny started and look at where Vinny is, right? Like slowly over time. Does it change it immediately, Jacob? You're probably right. Probably not gonna nothing's gonna change, right? Maybe a couple decks here or there, but like mainly not a lot of change. But plant a couple seeds, make sure you water them. Maybe we'll be all right. Thought I love where the devs' heads are in design space of these cards. Yeah, there's a ton of cool. I like the ninja arm piece, insane design, and then the mirage for the illusionist cards is insane. Just a lot of good stuff. And then they gave blue sixes to Toughnut, so we're happy. Definitely feels like we might be hitting a new era in Fab. I would love to hear what you mean by that. Finally, pirate wager support. Been waiting an eternity for that. It does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? I was so ready to do a pirate wager plus wage gold plus hook for 4 card 10. I will make gold. That's right. Sorry, I skipped down too far. Holy shit. Oh my God. The text is flying. I'm so far behind, chat, but I promise you I'm going to make it. Can you give a quick top 5 buffed heroes? Teklevossen, Toughnut, Marlin, RKO, 5 for a week. That would be my 5. Top 5 most buffed heroes. Yes. Final answer. Ooh, Katsu with the arm piece, though. Maybe Ninja could go in there. Just Ninja. The arm piece is insane, I'm telling you. I think. Yep. That'd be my answer. Bolton got some love. I don't think it was enough. The elemental stuff was kind of mid. I understand that they have to be very careful with that card pool, though. RKO got the juice, the absolute juice, and then a bunch of tech cards. Yep, that's what I would say. Here's my answer. It was actually an RKO set, and I'm okay with it. It was pretty good for him. It was pretty good. Expect the PQ graphs to look similar to the RTN ones. I mean, yeah, probably. Especially as people like try wonky things that aren't consistent, and just the consistent proven stuff will just rise to the top. Yes. But what I think we will see is it'll change very quickly. I think you're right. For the first 2 weeks, maybe 3, same thing, but then we'll start seeing some evolution. I just won't blaze. I thought they were going to do it. I could have swore they were going to do it. I wonder what they're waiting on. Played Gravy, and he got good boot. I'm happy Toughnut got more interesting card than me. Plays his Armory deck being announced at London and Marvel in the Antiquity Pack. 100% Young Blaze. We'll see. Tried one game with Thorns. It decided Titanium Bauble might be better. That's crazy. I don't know if this was already said or not, but most of those cards future proofing future heroes, next Necro, next Ice. You sure? Okay. A lot of chaos cards. True. My only issue with this set is there's only 9 cards in each pack, while the cost is more for the booster box. But I do like many of the cards in it. I mean, I've always asked myself why there's so many cards in the pack. The obvious answer is limited, right? Like they have to have so many cards. Oh, it says attack. Yeah, but you still got attack action card. You got tipples. You got conks. You got you got some attack actions. Once again, you ain't got to win the wager. You just discard an ally, put it on a murderous rabble. Doesn't matter. Concerned Sage may be changing their design. I think my mindset will change when we get back to draftable limited sets, commons and rares equal Sage cards. I mean, this set does speak more to their design direction than any set made in the past 2 years because I mean, they had nothing holding them back on this one. All they had to do was support Sage and that's it and make reprints. Everything else it was just free. Like they could have done whatever they wanted and this is what they chose to do. As a Tech 1 Max player, I'm very happy with the set, I would imagine, which I think is unlikely, so it bums me out a little personally. Don't think it's wrong. Yeah. Betsy still didn't get the log. I'll tell you what. I loved Zen, but why the fuck was MST getting cards here? I mean, they got to support it, right? It's got to come back eventually. This set will help flatten out the meta a bit. Probably. It'll take a little bit of share from some other ones. I like that it has enough copium that I'm putting Teklo together. We'll see. We'll see how he ends up. Riptide support with booty cheeks. It was a lot of cards for not a lot of value. That's for sure. I like the top decks getting less. I wish the middle got a bit more, so I think it actually be pushing the top decks away. That's a good point. That's hard to it's hard to ask for though, right? Like I think we're asking for is like some extreme precision there, right? But I'm pretty horrible at evaluating cards, so super likely I'm wrong. And I mean, we'll see. We'll see. This meta is already pretty open. Overall, I'd say this set does what it sets out to do. I agree. Been playing since MST, and this is the first time I'm truly excited for a set. I think it gives Sage a good jump start, and I'm hoping that the format becomes more fun. I think it definitely helped the format, introduced a couple more synergies, things like that. So, um, I think you said it really well. That I think they accomplished what they set out to do. Wicked Trap is cool and easily usable, but that's the only useful card so far. Wizard Boots was a replacement for Blitz. What is Blitz? It's not even a real format anymore. I just don't think the cards are pushed enough, honestly. If they're going to print stuff for bad heroes, it needs to be a lot more powerful. Some of it's pretty good they printed. Like I'm trying to make Tekko work because he's probably got the best cards in the set, but nothing seems to deal with Gravy Verdants or Marionette. That's a good point. But those are just so like I mean they're polarizing in different directions, right? More expensive, sure. A lot of reprints though. Got to give some credit on that. Wait, didn't Acilio overall actually get stronger this set? I don't know. With the rules changes, Gravy might get a little bit weaker now, actually, which takes away some of Acilio's food. I think Acilio gets a lot better when KO leaves, so soon, but not yet. The amount of hate they printed against Combo Acilio just for us to pivot to Spilcilia. We're missing the revered equipment Majestic, which could be a game changer. Oh, it's going to be for Toughnut. We know. Has to be for Toughnut. I'm already more interested in what the next set is. Oof. Oof. I think the cleanest way I can put this is this set has me super hyped for my armories and a little worried about the Pro Tour. Well said. Okay. Interesting. Oh, this set has me hyped for the rest of the year. Interesting. Okay. Even the gravy allies, even though they are bad, have me excited. Okay. I can't understand top 5 without tier list. Everybody, all right. Everybody's trying to do it. It's only a matter of time. We'll probably do one next week if I'm being honest. We'll probably oh, we are going to San Diego. We will be playing at the Sage Calling. I'm excited for that. I don't know what I'm playing yet. I have a couple of ideas, but undecided. And yeah, we're gonna give it our best go. See what happens. Ready to try out the new format. You should try Max with the Hyperdriver Tutor. That blue is insane. And acceleration. And you cannot let them land Banksy. That's true. Bang 100% got some love, except he still super dies to Acilio. Yep. The set feels like it's setting us up for a great future of Flesh and Blood and will be a pivotal moment in the game. I mean, we hope so, right? I just hope, because there's some comments that make sense in chat. I hope that I don't mind setting up, right? But you don't want to, how do I put this? You don't want to IP3, right? You just want to put a card in Arsenal and set up that way. You don't want to take too much off. You still got to deliver. You got to deliver excitement. You got to have people wanting to engage with the product and set up. That's the perfect recipe. Very hard to do, obviously, but like that's what we're shooting for, you know? Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay. Going back. So we get caught up in chat. We almost caught up. Still victory, also still a problem that Helm doesn't fix. True. Next ice is going to be Super Freeze happy, and I welcome that a lot. We'll see. We'll see how it lands and what it actually lands as. So it doesn't really feel like it commands the premium price tag that it has, to be honest. I mean, I think that all depends on the reprint drop rate, right? Because if you open a shelter, then you know you're fine, right? Benji is coming. Well, we'll see. Betsy is actually going to own the Shield Smasher. It'll still be around forever. Riptide support was traditional Riptide support. Yeah, that one that one could have been a little bit bad. Although I don't think Riptide's that bad. I would consider him like a mid-level hero. I can't say what tier or we're gonna start demanding a tier list. If the set doesn't change anything in CC, we'd have the same meta for a year. So I agree with that. However, you're forgetting the next step, right? LSS learned a very painful lesson when only 200 people came to the Dallas calling in the middle of the US because Lexi stayed at the top of the meta for forever, right? Overstayed her welcome. They learned a very tough lesson. So if it comes to it, if what you say is correct, we have the same meta, nothing changes after PQ, I guarantee you they are going to ban a shit ton of cards literally just to shake it up. Okay? They cannot afford to let it just simmer. It's not going to happen. Are they going to get it right? I don't know. But all I know is that, like, I hear what you're saying, and maybe it will be a symptom for a month or so. But after that, I would have the expectation they would come in and just ban a ton of shit just to mix things up. I also love the every card frame angle. That is true. It's not that absurd to think of Benji with 36 health arriving. Yeah, possible. The set has me hyped for 2 weeks after PQ. Fi is terrifying. Yeah, Fi is going to be very short lived, I believe. We'll see, though. Flesh and Blood has taught me that mid range is not real, cannot set up for forever, or you get left behind. It's true. This set still seems like the perfect opportunity to release adult versions of young. Something that would make me so happy. I've always just had this vision that, like, randomly they're just gonna put out a new Briar or Dromai. Like, do you need a new set? Do you? Do you need this big old introduction, right? Like, give us another change. The next hero that really needs a replacement, right? KO got his replacement. Um, Maybe Briar or something like that. Now Florian's gone, or you know, Dromai, whatever is on the list of, like, this drastically and desperately needs the fan base needs to get what they want, right? Like, just throw them in the expansion slot. Just tuck them away. We don't need an armory deck. We don't need none of this shit. Just tuck it away and we'll use the card pool we have. Now, from a design perspective, that means you have to design them so close to the current card pool that already exists. Maybe they're not different enough. Sure. I'll concede that point. But maybe it's possible for some heroes. Probably not all. Like Dromai, I doubt. There's no way you could print a hero power that wasn't the exact same, that would operate the same given the card pool, right? Lexi's another good example. Any speculation for the next set? Well, it kind of depends on what's going down with Aurora, because they said Aurora would be here, I believe, in May of this year. I don't know if that's the set. I don't know if that's another individual product, whatever. But if Aurora's in it, then hypothetically, you would be going to. It's obviously elemental and it's lightning. So they've already done Rosetta. The only other lightning area would be Volt Haven, which would give you your Lexi or your your new ice hero, whatever the case may be, and that would probably be um, what I would expect. I would expect a Volt Haven. I just don't see a world where you make a Rosetta set or a Candle Hold set and you don't like finish the cycle, right? It's been a while. It's been what, year and a half, 2 years since Rosetta? I think a year and a half. Um, Maybe it's a little soon, but like, I don't know. It's possible. They can also do MST again. Mystic Talent is all gone. It is all gone. This time they could do it right. Um, Love how they dropped Icelander early. I wish they would drop a new CC early just to see what would happen. I mean, for real. I thought they said Aurora is in the third set. No shot they're doing 3 sets by May, right? That would be insane. Actually, they're doing that would make sense. Third set, but what you're not remembering is I think there's a mastery pack set this quarter. Um so maybe they're counting that as a set and then the third set. I don't know. I'm curious what to expect to rotate based on compendium. It definitely install Shadow Heroes low light looks set up for success. I don't know how to evaluate the light cards, to be honest with you. Also, there's only one elemental ranger, but multiple of the other elemental classes. That's a good point. Isn't there 3 mastery packs this year? I thought there were 3. I thought there were 1. I don't know. I could be wrong. There's a when Brian spoke at Worlds, that's what you need to revisit. They threw up something on the screen, said this shit's coming out when. That's what I would refer to. What are you planning to rock for Sage PQ season? Well, we got to figure it out a little bit sooner than that because we're going to San Diego for the Sage calling. So I got to figure out something quick. I haven't decided whether I'm going for a slower angle or going for just aggro soup. you know, um, I'm undecided. I have decided that my favorite aggro deck at the moment is probably Fi. Just has a lot less weaknesses and things like that. But so from an aggro perspective, if you see me on an aggro deck, it'll very likely be Fi. I would love to bring Briar. Nothing would make me happier, but I just hate the idea of losing to any ice hero that can make frostbites or Oldhim. You just fold to it. Like they have so many 4 blocks, you don't have break points, and you just can't get enough damage through. So we'll see. We'll see. Shane's going to San Diego too. I'll see you there, Shane. Looking forward to it. What do you think of Sage so far in your testing? If there's been any testing, I know we're like right on the entrance of it, but I will say that the format felt really stale before Compendium, right? So I don't have that feeling right now. That could be because we just got a huge card pool and maybe it dilutes to that in the future. That's entirely possible. But I can say at this moment in time, I feel like I'm playing games. Sure, it's a little lopsided depending on who wins the die roll, and there's just normal complaints that are associated with 20 life formats. But I feel like it's about as good as a 20 life format can get, I guess. You don't like Fi. Really? I would be very interested in hearing why. My thought process is you do just as good numbers as a lot of other aggro decks. You have frostbite protection and you have fatigue protection because you can just loop your flames and swing sword and go 1-3-1, right? Or 0-3-1. Um I mean, ice protection, anti-fatigue protection, and you do almost equivalent numbers. Lexi's pretty good too, though, I'm not gonna lie. Lexi pretty hot. I think we will get a vault or a set with Nukasai, Dromai, Necromancer using the Ash expansion slots. But you can't block. If you're playing fatigue soup with no damage. Otherwise, I think you fold to semi-aggro. Okay. Okay. You're talking about Farvo. Yeah. Is that what people are calling it now? That that deck was actually pretty impressive. The fact that the 2 cost fits in curve with the 4 for 8s is insane. You can very efficiently throw 3-card 10s with dominate and an on hit is absolutely insane. And then you have the block card that makes a seismic. Probably one of the best cards in Sage right now. If you have the crush cards to actually do it, because then you can just 2-card 8. It's absolutely insane. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, Shane. So I guess if disruption is the concern, right? Okay, so what you're saying is anybody that's actually wanting to go back and forth and not just blocking out, you lose a lot of points being Fi. And I agree with that, right? Like if you play into the fancy Bravo, I could see that matchup being a lot worse because you got nothing to really lean on. I can agree with that. It's a good point. I think Volta is just better than the Bravo. Really? Because that hero ability is insane. What's the thought process on Volta being better? I don't see it. That's interesting to think about, though. Why is Volta better? Sure, you get like dominated, a cheaper price, sure, but like the curves already there. Got a whole article coming. Okay, all right, let's see it. Let's see it. All right. Well, this one's been. We went for a good 2 hours here. For a good 2 hours, you guys were killing it in chat. I mean, I was behind the whole time. I just caught up like 5 minutes ago. And I just really appreciate everybody joining me. I really do appreciate it. And I think next week we're going to do it. I think we're going to have just enough information to maybe pull off the infamous tier list. I'm unsure on which one we're going to do, whether we do the CC or Sage tier list. Honestly, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put out a. I guess everybody's just focused on Sage right now, right? Like that's the thing. Isn't the first is it first 3 weeks of ProQuest season is Sage and then the last 3 weeks are CC? I think that's how they're doing it. So we'll go off of that. I'll do some research and I might do a poll on Twitter if I'm up in the air. But we might have to break out the old tier list next week. See what happens. But I really do appreciate everybody joining me. And I hope everybody got something of value from this stream. Ton of cards to go through. Ton of thoughts just flying through my head. And we'll see where some of this stuff kind of lands. with further testing and ideas and discussion and stuff like that. So we'll see. But overall, thoughts on the set. I mean, it landed exactly how I wanted it to. Um, I'm human, and I don't know the results of what that means as far as how impactful it is not to the top heroes and the impacts and implications of that. I'm interested to see how that kind of plays out, but we'll see. Maybe it's a positive thing. Maybe it's one of the worst things that could ever happen. Who knows? But what happened is literally what I asked for, so I can't complain. So, in that department, I'm temporarily disabled, basically. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. It's an interesting dynamic that I'm excited to keep tabs on. But thanks you everybody so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it, and I will see everybody